Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to all of who have joined in from different parts of the world.
Why in today's environment the body is becoming so fragile? Okay. So the body doesn't fail, it's just trying to adapt to an unnatural environment. What do I understand by this? So let's do a little throwback and understand it in an imagination form. Okay. So let us all imagine that we all woke up some 10,000 years ago. Okay. And when we woke up 10,000 years ago, there was no alarm clock, there was no chair, there was no gadget. So we all woke up uh, to sunlight. We all walked for miles. We ran to hunt. We carried, we climbed. Okay, we squatted with ease, squatted and did most of our day-to-day activities, and rested when needed, rested when tired. At the same time, my body was alert only when there was danger. So there was stress, but that came in swiftly and left swiftly. Okay. So that is when I woke up, or when we all woke up, when we are imagining some 10,000, 15,000 years back. Now let's wake up on 4th June 2026. So what do? We wake up to alarm clocks, we wake up to notifications mostly before sunlight or after sunlight. Our eyes are constantly active, though our body is still. There are thousands of thoughts that are processing in our heads, but we are rarely physically doing or giving any stress response to that. Okay, we sit more than we move. So the human body that evolved to a Homo sapien for variability of movement, for sunlight, for social bonding, um, for intermittent stress, and for deep resting periods. Okay, but what are we experiencing in our day-to-day lives? Repetitive sitting, compromised postures, chronic psychological stress, nervous system overload, that is constant screen time, emotional suppression, and low physical literacy. Low physical literacy is probably the most important thing that we miss today. um, my body has this power of communicating with itself, and it constantly tells you what it needs and how it needs to do something. The loss of that ability, okay, is is the root cause of a lot of problems today. Okay, so now what we have done on our own is we have created an evolutionary mismatch. A very interesting study in 2024 conducted by the Institute for Public Policy Research, they stated that in the UK businesses are enduring losses of over 100 billion pounds annually, and each employee uh, has to take leave, or there's absenteeism for almost equivalent to 44 days in the entire year. They are only because of dysfunction and sickness. So people at work are physically present, but physiologically they are absent. Okay, this is the evolutionary mismatch. The environment has given us a body to move and to recover. However, the modern life has actually given us convenience for sure, but constant stimulation. So, in our today's masterclass, we are going to focus on our body's literacy, my body's ability to communicate with itself, and we are going to try and experience it today itself for to uh, to reverse the disconnect to reconnect, the compromised to efficient, and from dysfunction to function. Yes, everyone's by far with me.
Yes.
Okay. So, as we are going to do that, we're going to do a simple exercise. I want everyone to participate. So we are going to keep our eyes closed. We can keep our eyes closed or open, whatever is convenient, just to be with yourself, just to reflect what you feel, how you feel. So for 1 minute, everyone, eyes open or closed, whatever you are comfortable with. Okay, sit with yourself. And there are two parameters that we are going to focus on. One is my breath, and one is my posture. Okay, and it can be anything. Tension anywhere in my spine, in my hip, tension in my breathing, tension in my jaw, not able to sit correctly, back pain, etc., etc. It can be anything, or it can be a subjective number on a scale of 0 to 10, where 10 is I feel ecstatic about myself, 0 is I feel worst. So any number that you feel your body feels as of now, I want you to rate it. I'll be happy to read it in the chat box. So, everybody, let's close your eyes or eyes open, whatever you're comfortable with. And let's take a minute. Let's do some breathing and just feel our body. Last 10 seconds. All right. So, everyone, you need not share your experience as of now. Can just mention it in the chat box or just keep it to yourself or just write it down somewhere, because we are going to experience the after soon. So I'm going to give you a few moments to actually just type it out into the chat box or something like that. All right. Now, before we experience the after, we are going to learn one basic concept, okay? And that gives us or that empowers us with the awareness and with the knowledge of how we are going to change our experience eventually, okay? So, what is actually causing the body to undergo all the problems? One, chronic stress. Second, nervous system overload. Third, static postures. So we are sitting for long, standing for long, we are not moving much. It's too much, I mean, too much screen time, lot of strain, lot of pressure on the nervous system, too many deadlines to meet, and chronic stress. Okay. Now, all these three components together give me two major setbacks in the body. One is altered micromobility. Now, what do I understand by altered micromobility? So, say this is a spine. Okay. Now, when I'm going to actually observe the spine, I have these bones stacked up one over the other, but they are not of a definite shape and size. Okay. So, it needs joints in the front and in the back to actually make it function. Okay, one functional unit, that is two bones and one disc. So this is one joint, one joint. So this is two joints in the front. And when I go back, okay, the top bone and the bottom bone are making joint again. So one functional unit of my spine makes four joints. Okay, my spine is actually 33 bones stacked up one over the other. So 33 into 4 are the number of joints that are present in my spine. Why am I talking, this physiology, or why this mechanics is important? Because we hear a lot of times that you need to move in a certain way, or just keep your spine in a certain way, or just be in this position, or of squat or bend your knees and don't bend from your spine to do something. But then that's not serving its purpose. The reason why we have joints in the spine is to give me the mobility. The fact that I'm able to access and use all these joints of my spine, okay, gives my body an opportunity to use all my ligaments, all my joint capsules, all my core muscles to its maximum efficiency. When I'm able to access micromobility, that is, I'm able to use all the joints of my body is able to function with its own shock absorbers. So imagine a spring versus imagine a bamboo stick. So if I am going to put load on a spring, that load will continuously disperse. Whereas if I put a load on a bamboo stick, it will compress, and eventually give up. Okay. So we need that spring action in the body. We need that spirality. We need that shock absorption. And that shock absorption comes only if I'm able to access this micromobility. Same goes with my pelvis. Okay, a very important structure of my body. Most of my movements, they originate at the pelvis. Okay, my pelvis makes joint with my spine. My pelvis makes joint with my hip. Okay, and it has joints amongst itself as well. All these joints move relative to each other. They should move relative to each other. If it fails to move, then I start compromising the efficiency of my movement. Okay, so again, like a small visual example for that. For example, my work involves me to constantly lift my arm up and down. Okay, and so I've been doing this for a year. So there's too much stress on my shoulder, because I can't say, for example, I have restrictive breathing. Sorry, I have restrictive breath work. I can't use my upper back, and I'm just constantly using my shoulder, and I created wear and tear in my shoulder joint. I still have to continue to work. I can't stop functioning. Okay. So now my body starts compensating. So how does it compensate? Say it can't completely reach up with the shoulder, so it starts reaching up with the spine. So my shoulder is moving less, but then my spine starts moving more.
Alfia, would you want to stop the presentation and show the movements? Okay.
Oh yeah, of course.
I just realized that. Okay.
Okay.
So, you can stop. Yeah. Thank you so much. Go ahead.
Yeah. Can you see me now?
Yes. Now it's perfect. Right.
Okay. Yeah. So now, say I need to continue to do that job. Okay. But I now end up using my spine. Now this component of my spine is also tired. It's exhausted. So I start using some rotation along with it. So my body compensated at 3 levels, right? And now it's tired. It's reached its threshold. Now, say I'm traveling by a flight and I have to actually carry my weight or just put my weight in, okay? And I suddenly get a catch in the back. And then I go to the doctor and the doctor tells me, oh, it's a severe slip disc. That episode in the flight is actually only a trigger. That's not what has caused the problem. The problem has caused, it was actually, the compensation was going on for the past 5 years, 8 years, 10 years, that my body has constantly been compensating for something that it's not able to do. Yeah. Okay. So altered micromechanics is going to lead to a lot of compensation in my movement. The compensation in my movement eventually gives me pain and fatigue. Okay, that's one aspect of how chronic stress, nervous system overload, and static posture give. Number two is my body's fight and flight response. Okay, so to understand fight and flight better, imagine I take you to a very high cliff and now I ask you to jump. Okay, so you will have thousands of thoughts that run through you and you don't want to jump, obviously. You'll also feel butterflies in your stomach. Okay, that's your body undergoing that fight and flight, but that's extreme. We don't see that extreme fight and flight on a day-to-day basis. As humans, we are designed to see about 10%, 15% of fight and flight, intermittent fight and flight response through the day. However, with the modern lifestyle, about 30, 40, 50%, depending on how active, sedentary, how much time I'm spending in front of the laptop, etc., etc., about 30, 40% of that fight and flight is constantly playing on my body. So, what happens in the fight and flight? Again, the spine model. So, here are my lungs, okay, and here is my diaphragm. A muscle that extends from the diaphragm, okay, and goes down into my pelvis and then down into my hips, okay, is also a muscle of my deep core, a muscle which is deeper to my abdominal muscles, okay, which is also responsible for my emotional well-being, and it always responds to emotional stress, anxiety, pressure, positive or negative, as long as it's constant. How does it respond? It just becomes tight because it does not know what to do. The fear of unknown. Okay. So, in that fear of unknown, this muscle becomes tight, becomes rigid. When this muscle becomes rigid, I can't breathe because the muscle extends from the diaphragm. The diaphragm is my primary breathing muscle. When this muscle is tight, I cannot breathe. My breathing dysfunction, my breathing is restricted. Okay. I lose my pelvic mobility, my pelvic floor muscles, my pelvic muscles also tighten. Okay, so my entire core, my entire canister has gone for a toss. Okay, and then what do we see most commonly is altered posture. So I'm just going to stand up and show very commonly what happens when my body is in constant fight and flight. So my muscle extends from the base of my ribs up to my pelvis. So if my muscle is tight, I can be here and stuck, or I can be here and stuck. So my chest is up and I've restricted lower body, or my pelvis is out, pelvis, and I've a restricted upper body. But this portion gets stuck. A lot of time, I heard it almost every day. But a lot of time, you also would have heard that. Oh, my posture wasn't like that like 5 years back. I used to be much more upright. Or this is only like for the past 2 years that I've started doing night shifts. But previously, I used to play cricket regularly. I used to play badminton regularly, and I had very strong shoulders. I had a very upright posture. Very commonly, I've heard that people's postures change, and uh, one mistake I would like to say that people try to make is that they try to correct their posture by actually, I mean, like mechanically. So, let's say, keep your spine at 90 degrees, keep your neck at 90, the eye has to be at this level, the knee has to be at this degree. So, it's just that we are humans and not robots, and that's not the right way of correcting a posture or any postural dysfunction. Okay, that's because my core has become inefficient, my body has lost its potential mobility, and now my posture is my body's ability to hold itself in relationship to gravity. So I lost my posture, I got into the fight and flight response. This gave my body tension in the jaw, tension in the neck, pain in my back, tension in the hips, etc., etc. And now the dysfunction has started. If I don't realize the dysfunction, my body will eventually land up into a pathology. So, oh, a crack in the bone. Oh, a strain on my ligament. without an external force, just constant day-to-day life. Oh, a slip disc. Oh, XYZ. The pathology comes after the dysfunction. Your body has silently whispered for years before it screamed for attention. Okay, so this is the basic idea, and why the body disconnects, why the movements become compensated, and why everything becomes dysfunctional. Okay, now let us move to the after. Okay, so we felt the before. Okay, before of my breath work and my posture. Let's experience the after together. Okay, we're going to use small imageries to make sure we are able to use only the structures we want to use. Okay, so be mindful of that. First, we are going to focus is on the pelvis. Okay, so my pelvis is the organ on which I will sit. Okay, so I'm going to imagine this is like a big bowl, and that bowl is filled with water up to the brim. Okay, now I want to spill the water forward and spill the water backward, and spill the water forward and spill the water backward. Just a second, I think
Yeah, I was just going to request you to remove the blurred
the
background.
blur. Yeah, yeah. Mm.
There's also a question in the chat that says, does a toxic work environment also lead to something like this? Mentally,
Absolutely, anything that will give you stress and you don't know how to actually manage that stress. Can the host help me remove the blur? Actually, I don't know why I'm not getting an option to remove it for myself.
There's an icon for video, switching on and switching off the video.
Yeah.
So right
Okay.
next to it, yeah.
a small arrow.
Is it
Yes.
okay now?
Yes.
Yes. Perfect.
All right. Okay. So I'm going to focus on my pelvis. My pelvis is like this big bowl. Okay. And that bowl is filled with water. Okay. Now, if I move it forward, the water is spilling forward. When I move it back, the water spills backward. So water spilling forward, the water spills backward. The water spills forward and the water spills backward. And while I'm doing this movement forward and backward, okay, somewhere in between, I'm going to feel this bone over here. Can you see this bone? So the name of this bone is actually also my sit bones. It's designed to carry weight. We actually sit on this bone. Okay. So while I move forward and back, there's going to be a range or an angle where I'm actually going to feel maximum of that bone. And that's exactly where I want to stop. So I'm sitting on my sit bones. And when you sit on your sit bones, your posture naturally improves. Your spine naturally becomes more upright. Yes? Can you feel that? All of you all, any difficulty?
No.
Perfect. Okay. So I first want to work with my posture. I got my posture right. Now I want to sit relaxed, completely relaxed. Okay. I'm allowed to take back rest my feet down on the floor, whatever is comfortable as long as I'm sitting on my sit bones. Okay. Now I want to focus on my rib cage, only my rib cage. Okay. So I'm going to imagine I have a long needle on the side of my ribs, of both my ribs, but we're going to do one at a time. So we are all going to try and experience it on the right side first. Okay. So I have a long needle on the right side of my ribs, and I'm going to keep this hand at the back of my head. And with this long needle, I'm going to burst balloons on the side. Okay. So we are not shifting weight. It's not weight shift. It's not the spine. It's not like this lower body. It's only my rib. So what I tell myself and how I want to experience the movement is very, very important. So I want to go up only from my rib, burst the balloon and come back. And go up only from my rib and burst the balloon and come back. And up only from my rib and burst the balloon and come back. Okay, let's try this 5 times. Okay, now imagine I have an eye on the center of my chest, and this eye, only this eye wants to look up. So I'm going to look again. My hand continues to stay at the back of my head, and the eye on the center of my chest wants to look up and wants to look back. And the eye wants to look up and wants to look back. The eye wants to look up, wants to look back. And back. Now we did the right side. Now I want you all to close your eyes again. Okay. And say put one hand on your ribs or maybe one hand on your abdomen or by the side. Again, close your eyes and please let me know if you feel a difference between your right and your left, or any change in your tension, in your spine, anything. Slight pain. Jaya, where exactly in the back?
It's actually lower middle in the back.
Yeah, so then probably you're tensing that back too much. Okay, so then probably you are here. Don't be here.
Okay.
Just relax. Just be on your sit bone without any tension in your spine.
Okay.
Now breathe and tell me if you feel a difference between your right and your left when you breathe. Take about 30 seconds. Take your time, breathe, and you can put it up on the chat box how you feel. Any difference between your right side and your left side? Feels light. Yes. Perfect. Right lung has more air. Perfect. So when I'm trying to intentionally move, I'm trying to intentionally create movement, okay, my body can function differently. Okay, so just 5 minutes of intentional movement or intentional work only on one side can give me so much. So my attention or my neural system, okay, that's actually functioning on that side because it's activated, how well it can use just that side of the body, right? Now let us do the left side as well and then do like a before and after. So before, that is about 15 minutes back, we did a before and then compare the before and the after. So let's also do it on the left side. Again, now this time my left hand goes up back behind my head, a needle on my rib, and I'm going to prick the balloon and come back. Prick the balloon, come back. Prick the balloon and back. Prick and back. Prick the balloon and come back. Prick and back. Prick and back. Again, imagine an eye on the center of the chest. The eye wants to look up and the eye wants to look straight. Again, what you are commanding your brain is important. Your brain is going to use only what you're going to ask it to move and use. So be specific. The eye on the center of the chest wants to look up and wants to look back. And the eye on the center of the chest wants to look up and back. Eye wants to look up, wants to look back. Wants to look back. And relax. Now again, 1 minute, close your eyes. And now sitting on your sit bones, easing out tension from the spine, allowing more air inside your rib cage after an intentional rib cage mobility. Close your eyes. Again, take a minute. Breathe. And again, our two parameters, breath and posture. And how has it changed the way you feel about your tension, about your pain, and about the depth of your breath, etc., etc. And I'll be very happy to read it on the chat box. Come. 1 minute, eyes closed. Okay. Slowly open your eyes. Relax, breathe, and what do you feel? Feels relaxed. Great.
I actually have a frozen shoulder. So when I was doing it, initially there was pain. But I think once you do it multiple times, you suddenly feel like there is a slight amount of like that relaxation would be I'm not sure what word it is, but definitely less tense. Definitely less tense.
Oh, that's great. That's great.
So I'm going to do this every day.
Oh, great, great, Shilpa. Great, Jaya. Perfect, relaxed. So, this is exactly what I wanted everyone to experience. The disconnect becomes reconnect, the compromise becomes efficient, and the dysfunction becomes function. So, this is the intelligence, body intelligence framework. That is how you are supposed to work or supposed to exercise. Awareness, awareness of how you feel, what you feel. Are you feeling the right areas? Is your body up for it? What you're doing, how you're doing, where you're feeling the tension. So, one is awareness. Second is access. So, are you able to access your mobility? Are you able to use your muscles correctly? My muscles are actually placed in layers. So, every time my body carries load, it needs to be distributed among the layers. So, is that happening correctly? That can happen if I can access my mobility. So, access, efficiency. If I have awareness and if I have mobility, my movements become efficient. I can use my body's shock absorption, I can use my body's spirality, and I can do more work using less energy. Okay. So efficiency, and last is integration. So I want to use everything together: my awareness, my ability to access, my ability to make my movements efficient, integrate all this. And one more meaning of integration: every time my limbs move, my hands move, my legs move, they have to originate from the core. My trunk has to participate in all the movements I do. My spine has to participate in all the movements I do. So, integration of all the movements. So, I'm going to share my screen once again. Yeah, can everybody see? So, adaptation that happens in the body is protective by nature. It's not efficient, and we don't want adaptation. Okay, the 4 phase body intelligence framework that we just spoke of: awareness, access, efficiency, and integration. Yes. So my final statement would be: movement in today's world is not just fitness. Movement is connection, it's literacy, it's remembrance. So move regularly, but move well. Thank you so much. This is a QR code that is for an assessment I have created for all the participants today. You all can please scan this QR code and give me a general idea and of how your body looks like, and then we can eventually get in touch and I can give you a free postural assessment after that. Thank you so much. Any questions?
Doctor, how often do we have to do this kind of exercise?
So when we're talking about, so we need to see where your body is and what is your body's ability of, you know, accessing itself. What is its ability to communicate with itself? Ideally, the intensity has to be low but the frequency has to be high. So imagine it as like a difficult mathematical formula. If you're going to sit with it thrice a week for half an hour, you probably won't remember it so well. But if you're going to sit with it for 5 minutes, 5 times a day for a week, you will be able to kind of memorize it very well. So at low intensity, done more frequently, okay, because the stress, this nervous system overload, and the static posture is something that is going to happen regularly. So you want to regularly, with low intensity, constantly keep tapping into these deep areas and being able to access everything, all your deep core areas is required.
Thank you. Thank you for the detailed explanation.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. I think I'm sure everybody is going away with a feeling of absolute gratitude, because I think we all struggle with health issues, but either we postpone getting help around it, or we just kind of, bulldoze through it, right? So and when you can get such simple and yet immediate relief is without taking any tablets, I think is really a valuable, very valuable thing to offer to anybody. So thank you very much. Really appreciate it. And yeah, we look forward to stay in touch. Your website is there. We encourage people to look at that. We'll also have this on YouTube. So, hopefully a lot more people from the platform will start looking at it after this. So yeah, thank you so very much.
Thank you so much, Karen. Thank you.
There are no other questions, or I think then we can close. Yes, I think Jaya has put it in one word: gratitude. Beautiful. Thank you. All right. Thank you so very much. You can close the session.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Bye bye. Bye.